All right, everyone, welcome back to another First Capital Gaming Mana Ripped podcast. We're here today at our new store. As you guys know, we did move, but we got some cool upcoming events with some other TCGs. Don't forget to check out our last video talking about MH3. Today, we're going to be talking about One Piece.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my name is Mac, and we've got...
Yeah, I am Marquise. Pleasure to meet y'all. Local gamer at First Capital Gaming. First LGS I ever walked into in Pennsylvania. And
Really?
yeah.
That's awesome.
Literally favorite store, ritual for Fridays, and it's just the place to be, honestly.
Yeah, we love having Marquise in the store. He's a bundle of joy. He brings in a whole bunch of energy, great energy. But he also knows a lot about One Piece, guys. This is his TCG for sure.
Only card game I play. Literally. Only card game.
So we're definitely super excited about One Piece and OP-07 coming out. Pre-release is coming up Friday and Saturday. We're completely booked. 2 days, 16 players each.
Lucky to get spots on both days.
Both days.
I'm going to be here, dude. I will be here.
So we're really excited about it. Hope you guys are too that are out there playing One Piece. So we're going to go over some things with you guys today, talking about One Piece itself. So as you see here, we're going to be talking about pre-release. So we're going to go through a whole breakdown today with pre-release, right?
Yes,
Awesome.
we are. Starting off with the leaders, of course, because when it comes to pre-release, there's obviously new leaders in every set. Not all of them are ideal to play, sadly. I mean, you have some good options for sure, but there's a standard list of old leaders you could always throw back in. It's always going to get some play for these type of events.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see these first two. These guys are going to be new, so we think these are going to be for playing pre-release specifically. And our first one we've got is Monkey D. Dragon, Luffy's daddy.
Yes, that is a sick art, first off. Beautiful card. But card itself states, effect, activate main once per turn, give up to 2 total of your currently given Dawn cards to one of your characters. So ideally, what this guy is doing is, you smack 2 Dawn on him, smack him for 7. If you have a character on the board already, you get to move that Dawn for free to another character, hitting them hard again right off the bat, just ripping cards out of their hand or just taking 2 life right out the gate. Super strong, super needed card.
That's pretty crazy. Being able to move up to 2 total Dawn that are currently given is very, very powerful. There's no other requirements here, right? It's not looking for Revolutionary Army.
Nope.
It's not looking for another red card.
Nope. It's just the character that you've developed on the board. So
that's really good for pre-release. As you guys know, doing pre-release, you're not going to have a lot of cohesion within a certain archetype, right? So you're not going to be able to just build a whole Revolutionary Army deck, right?
It's just smacking 40 cards together, ripping 6-packs, grabbing what's ideal. But obviously, there's a lot of cards in the set. You don't want to just grab whatever you see. There's some certain picks in there, obviously, but any character you play out gets 2 free Dawn. So
yeah, so great leader. All right, so our next leader, I'm super excited to build this in the set once the set comes out. But we've got my girl Jewelry Bond.
This card states, on your opponent's attack once per turn, you rest 1 Dawn, and you get to rest either their leader or their character. So you are straight up just denying a swing coming back at you on the following turn.
So
super good.
That's super good, especially in limited 40-card deck, right? You're not going to have a lot of options to pick with already in your pre-release as far as bombs go and things like that, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Exactly.
And then just taking away an attack during your opponent's turn, this is pretty nuts.
This is the ideal leader that everyone's going to be looking for in their pre-release. That's why I signed up for both days, because if I find this on day 1, it's going on day 2, without a doubt.
It's going on day 2 without a doubt.
Because especially, too, with the leaders we're going to talk about in a second here, a lot of them are either restand, double hits, a lot of crazy stuff you're getting. So if you're just flat out saying no to that, super good.
Yeah.
Super good.
Yeah, that is true. And you know all about people saying no with some decks that are being played in the meta. And I'm sure you guys do, too, out there.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of no right now, a lot of just removal in the game currently in this meta. But yeah, this card is just going to help save your butt in pre-release.
And it's a beautiful art. You get lucky enough to get that alt art on the pre-release, dude. I mean, come on.
Sheesh.
It's
Yeah,
a
that
pretty
art.
piece.
Let's go back to this art real quick. That art is just absolutely beautiful. Kuma's daughter here. If you guys
Mhm.
are up on the actual One Piece itself, um, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
after pre-release, pre-sale on TCG has this over 150 bucks out the
jeez.
gate, out the gate.
So
So I
at the
mean, if you're
very
pulling
least,
any of these, at the very least, you're making your money back for multiple pre-release events.
yeah,
You're talking about just a staple card, a chase card. This is one of the chase leaders, 100%,
yeah, it's a big chase leader for sure, and
100%.
definitely just if you don't plan on playing green ever outside of this pre-release, just to have the leader, it's definitely great trade fodder for
Yep,
whatever you need out of this set.
100%.
Yeah, that's pretty
You
awesome.
smack that in your binder in the front page. I'm gonna open it. Give me that. I want that card.
All right, so next we've got three leaders that have kind of been around for a while that are known leaders for
Yep.
pre-release.
All starter deck leaders,
Yep.
OG starter decks, I believe 1, 2, and 3. One in the middle, 2 on the left. I believe that's 3 on the right. But
Yep.
you have Eustace Kid on the far left. That is the staple for almost every pre-release I've been to. You see at least 5 of them. He's just out the gate, double stand or restand, hitting you twice. So he basically states you rest 3 Dawn, stand them up, trash 1 card from your hand, and
Yeah.
you just smack them again.
Yeah,
Smack them
restanding
again.
in this format, just in regular meta, is crazy.
Exactly.
Restanding your leader is a lot. Restanding a
Exactly.
character is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It just removes some things from the board that your opponents are able to really do to you,
Yep.
as far as removal is concerned or
Yep.
anything like that.
And the main play, I see people doing this too. It's like you push for lethal, you get them down to 1 life, you smack 7 Dawn on this guy, he hits you for 12 twice.
Yeah.
And you're just checking that hand out the gate. If they don't have blockers developed, if their board is sideways, you're clearing it. I mean, you are ending games with this guy a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
Lot of the
Shout
time.
out to one of our players. They've been on vacation right now. Bob plays
Oh
this deck
my God,
religiously, and he's back this Friday. So you
Dude.
know you're going to see Kid again. You know you're going to see Kid. He's coming back.
Bob sneaks games from me, dude.
He
sneaks games from me all the time.
everybody, man. He's really good at playing.
Because if you play the mind game right with him too, if people don't know what this guy does and they're new to the game, they're just gonna think, "Oh, he's only hitting me once every turn. He
Yeah.
can't do it twice." He pushes you down to 1 life, hits you twice, and you're like, "What just happened? I lost the game."
Yeah,
Why?
that card
Why?
Eustace is just ridiculous in this format. And then we've
Mhm.
got Monkey D. Luffy, man.
Yes, this is OG starter deck 1, beginning of the game. This guy was out there. He was winning a lot of games, basically stating activate main once per turn. Give this leader or one of your characters up to 1 rested Dawn. Doesn't sound crazy, but I mean, just getting that extra power in, making him a 6K swing, giving a character making it a 6, or whatever the case may be. It's 1 Dawn you know you're moving for free.
Yeah.
You're moving for free, and at that point, if you're doing the math right, you're just demanding more cards, and that's all the game is. It's hand advantage. If you know they're low on resources and you get to check that hand, you're getting some hits
You're
out
getting
of
hits
that guy.
in, yeah. And just talking about resources, this leader helps make your resources that more efficient because it's just taking a rested Dawn and placing it on something and
Exactly.
pumping up that power.
Exactly.
Which in pre-release is huge. In this
Mhm.
game in general is huge, which is
Very.
why it did so well early on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you just didn't have that many answers for him. Now, of course, it's not as competitive in the construction format,
Yeah.
obviously, but in sealed battle, if you can't get your hands on a kid, you can't get your hands on some broken leaders coming out right now. This guy is an option for sure.
That guy's a
sleep
good
on it.
option. All
Don't
right.
sleep on
And then the third option, we still have 2 more after this, but we've got Crocodile
it.
from
Yes.
the ST sets here.
Crocodile basically stating activate main once per turn. You -4 Dawn, and you get to return 1 character with a cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand. Normally, what you're doing with this guy is they develop a blocker, and you're just putting it back in their hand. You can't say no to it. It's technically not a KO or a bottom deck, so it's
Yeah.
a different form of removal. You're forcing them to pick that card up, spend the same resources to play next turn, but that one turn you do it, it's a free window. It's a free window for a hit, free window for you to just either go for game, get rid of a problem card. I mean, it's nice. It's
Yeah,
definitely nice.
that is nuts. I know a lot of people. Again, we were talking about this being a resource heavy game.
Hmm.
Minus for Dawn.
It
With
sounds
you,
like a lot.
it does sound like a lot, but
Yeah.
with you being able to play multicolor in pre-release
Hmm.
and not have color restrictions,
Hmm.
things in like purple that get you back Dawn for minusing
Exactly.
Dawn are going to be really
Exactly.
good for this with this leader. This
For
is
sure.
probably one of the, I would say, lower tiered leader from leaders that are currently
Exactly. Because
available.
obviously, if you got the kid, you're going to play that. You got the bond, you're going to play that. But if you don't have access to them and you do get your hands on one of these, or you just have one from a starter deck, try it out. It's
Yeah,
not going to do you wrong. It will sneak on some people. Not everyone's going to expect it because everyone's expecting the kid. They're expecting the Bonnie. So, I mean, if you lay that across the table, they're going to think, okay, at some point in the game, he's going to do this to me. And it's just something you have to keep in the back of your mind,
yeah.
for sure.
I mean, just being on turn, turn 4, turn 5,
Hmm.
right, and minus 4 Dawn, and and sealed, and popping back a 5 cost,
Hmm.
and sealed. A lot of the 5 costs are going to be maybe that player's bomb. Like they may not
Exactly.
have any big
Exactly.
bodies. And so just popping that to their hand, as long as it doesn't have like an on play effect that you don't want to have happen again, you just remove a huge threat from the
Exactly.
board for you. And then all these have 5 life, so that's really important. You guys, you'll see
Yes.
most of these leaders
Very much
are
so. Good
5
point.
life leaders. That's very important in pre-release. You want to
Hmm.
have at least 5. There's one multicolored leader that we're going to talk about here next,
Yes.
but this leader is just like
There's an exception for it, for sure. And you're going to know already once you see it.
it's
But I mean,
broken. It's broken. So here we go. Here are the last 2 leaders that we
yep.
kind of recommend for pre-release. Um,
Yamato on the right, green, yellow. I mean, that is the most aggressive leader out right now. It states double attack for every single time that card goes sideways. You let that hit connect on life, and you got to pick up 2 of that right out the
it's
gate.
gross.
And it even states activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 3 or less life cards, you get to move 2 Rested Dawn to any one of your characters for free. No cost whatsoever. So you land with 1 double attack on any 5 lifer, it's online for the
It's
rest of the
online.
game. Rest
Yeah.
of the game.
So turn 2, whether you're going first or going second, you're just pushing Dawn on
Yep.
Yamato
Yep.
and swinging at life.
I mean,
There's no
anyone that's
way.
played against that leader knows. Turn 2, they go first. Turn 2, they see 3 Dawn. They're putting it on leader, smacking you for 8, checking that hand for 2/2Ks. You don't got it, you pick up 2 life. It's as simple as that.
It's very simple as that. And in limited, the 2K landscape is going to be even
Yes.
smaller
Yes.
than what you would see in normal constructed,
Exactly.
and
Because
what you
it's
see at
all based
locals.
on what you rip out of those 6 packs. If you're just unfortunate and you don't get that many 2Ks, and you see Yamato across the table, you're probably most likely not going to mulligan your hand just to see some 2Ks to avoid that from happening to you.
Two
Because
Ks are
that,
blockers, right? Like
exactly,
at least a
exactly.
2-drop blocker, so you can
Yep,
stop that first hit.
yep,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's definitely going to be big. And then we've got another monocolored here, Charlotte Katakuri.
Broken leader again. I mean, it's, yes, in this format in '07, it's not top dog, but it's still competitive. Because at the end of the day, everyone knows what Katakuri does. It's the casino deck. It's based off triggers. I mean, in the construction format, it's gross. But Dawn times 1 when attacking, you get to look at the top of either you or your opponent's life cards, see what that card is, and either choose to put it at the bottom or leave it at the top. Still a strong effect. You get to check your life, see if you have a trigger there. If you want it there, leave it. If it's something that will save your butt in the end, you put it at the bottom.
Yeah.
But for 1 Dawn, he gains 1,000 extra power on top of the Dawn you smacked on him. So he's hitting you for 7 for 1
For
Dawn
1 Dawn.
every time.
Yeah, that's the big part
Every single
here
time.
is the additional 1,000 power attack
Yeah,
power on
for
top
sure.
of the 1,000 that you're getting from the Dawn.
For sure.
Obviously, moving things off of life so that your opponent early game just checking your opponent's life.
Because that part's mainly for the construction side of things. In
Yeah,
sealed, it's still nice to just see if you got a trigger in there. If you know you rip some triggers and you put them in your deck, they can save you always. But the 7 power for 1 Dawn is super strong.
yeah, that is
Super strong.
definitely probably by far probably the biggest part of this card is that it's getting 2K.
100%. And it's a 5 life.
And it's 5 life.
You feel safe.
You're safe.
You'll eat the first hit. It's fine. If you don't see a Yamato, you're not sweating it. So, I mean, it's good. It's a good card.
It's a very good card. I'm super excited about this next category that we're going into. We're going to be talking about pre-release bombs. So these are just cards that if you see you're putting them in your deck, they're going to close out the game for you
100%.
in limited format. And they're usually going to be big bodies, right?
Yes, for sure.
So some of these are going to be reprints.
Yep.
So there are some reprints in this set, which is pretty cool. So we will see some of those.
But they're reprints coming out with beautiful art on them.
Gorgeous.
SPs now. Again, if you get lucky enough to pull these out of your packs after you're done playing, smack it in the binder because that is instant trade value right there.
It is instant trade value. I know I'm looking for one specific.
Oh, I know. It's a spicy card.
It's super spicy. It's super spicy. But it's actually getting teched in now into meta geckos now.
Yes,
so,
because with the ban list hitting and Great Eruption being gone, which is fair, needed to go, card was cracked. This is another boss monster for you to play. And we are talking, obviously, about Isho. 8-drop, 9K power body. Dawn ×1 on your turn, you give your entire board, your opponent's board, -3 costs. Off the gate. Black, anyone that knows about playing black, I play Gecko.
Yep.
It's all about KO removal. And if this guy sticks on the field, your entire board on your opponent's side is -3. It's freebie right there.
It's super freebie. I'm brewing something spicy. And it has this card in it. We're not going to get into too much details. I don't want anyone out there.
But besides that point, too, he has an even on-play effect. On play, when you first drop this body, if your opponent has, I believe, 6 or more cards in their hand, you get the trash, too. So you even get to pick them. You pluck the 2 cards. Depending on what you hit, you could get 2 crazy cards. But basically, hand removal, hand advantage is the game. If you get to rip cards out of their hand, you're winning already.
Yeah.
And now you establish a 9K body.
Yeah, I don't think the -3 is going to be super important in pre-release. The important part here is the on play and the fact that it's an 8-drop 9K body. It's just going to be hard to remove in a limited format and setting, and just allow you to deal with someone that has a lot of cards in hand.
Exactly. But right next to him, we do have Monkey D. Dragon. We saw the leader. Now we're seeing the boss monster himself.
Yeah.
Another 8-drop 9K power. He has Rush. So the turn you're playing him, you're smacking him for 9.
Smacking him for 9.
But actually, not even just 9, because you get to on play give up the 2 Rested Dawn cards to your leader or one of your characters. So after you hit him for 9, your leader or character is getting 2 more Dawn.
2.
When you spend 8. So on your 10 Dawn turn, you could play him for 8. Essentially for 6, because those 2 get to move to your leader or another character, and you still have 2 more Dawn to mess around with. So potentially with a 5K leader, you're smacking them for 9 twice. Right out the gate.
This card is super spicy to throw in. If you open this card, Monkey D. Dragon, it definitely has to just go in the deck. You get the rush, you get to get past the normal game state rules of characters can attack the first time they come out. But on top of that, the efficiency, like you said, you're essentially getting 10 Dawn with this on this turn.
Yes.
Right? You're dropping an 8K, an 8-drop that's a 9K, and you're putting 2 Rested Dawn on something else. So if you're going second, right? So you're on curve for 8. You drop this down, you're tapping out you're resting all of your Dawn.
Yep.
And then you're putting 2 of those Rested Dawn onto another character. So it's not or your leader. So it's not like you're really
you're not losing out at all.
Really losing out. And that means it's a 9K swing with Dragon and at least a 7K swing with
your leader right after.
Yeah.
Right after.
And if you're using Katakuri, it's an 8K swing, bro.
Katakuri at 8K. If you're playing Yamato and you already landed the double.
Oh, no.
The first hit, you hit him once or you make him 3 life, whatever the case, you make sure Yamato's online. This guy swings for 11 because you play him for 8, the 2 rested out of that. You could put to your leader, so Yamato hits you for 7 after, and this guy hits you for 11.
No, because Yamato can move Rested Dawn too,
exactly.
Right? Oh my gosh. This is gross. This card is
nasty.
busted in this for pre-release for sure. If you guys happen to see this in your pools, Don't sleep on it, guys.
No,
Don't put it
do not.
aside and be like, oh,
No.
it's 8 Don. No, this is a bomb. This is going to
Yep.
close out the game. It's going to help win you packs or whatever the prizing is where you're at. All right, this next one.
This I'm excited for. This
super
is
exciting.
a beautiful card as well. Another 8-drop 9K power. It is Sabo, of course, the better Lucci coming out, basically.
The better Lucci.
This guy is nuts. Beautiful artwork. But he states, on play, you trash 1 card from your hand, KO 1, 5 or less, and 1, 3 or less. So out the gate, besides establishing a big body, you're getting rid of a 5 and a 3.
Yeah.
Which are now common cards that everyone's playing. Everyone at first was dropping 4 drops. They weren't safe. They got removed, so people bumped it up to 5s. This guy gets rid of one of them.
5 costs aren't safe.
No, they're not.
Nobody's safe with Sabo out there.
It's not. And it's a black card. You're playing black. You're minusing the cost anyways. So you're getting rid of bigger stuff for basically for free. Free.
Obviously in the new format in the meta, we're going to be talking about this card. We're going to be talking about Dragon as well, for sure. Both of these cards are going to be huge, I think, in the metas.
For sure.
But for pre-release purposes, you're not going to see a lot of big bodies.
No.
Like 3 to 5 is really a sweet spot in pre-release. And you being able to pop 2 of those with this card is just disgusting.
Exactly.
You just change the board state completely.
Dramatically.
And it's a 9K. It's an 8-drop 9K. All 3 of these are 8-drop 9Ks. So they're on 8. It's not even at 10.
No,
it's at 8
at all. You go second, you drop it on curve, you get clear the board for 2, and now they just have to sit there, look at that, and deal with it next turn.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to deal with these cards because they're big bodies. You don't have your normal removal like Great Eruptions or anything like that. Ice Ages.
No construction here.
No construction. Yeah. So it's just going to be gross. All right, let's go to our next page here. So because there are 10 drops here in this format and 9 drops. So let's talk about these guys.
10 drop coming up though. Another beautiful freaking card. Portgas, the Ace, Luffy's brother himself. This man. It's saving a nail and constructed. But besides that, in pre-release
I don't think
itself,
a nail needed any saving, bro.
It didn't, but I mean, it's going to be so fun seeing this card. It's going to suck playing against it for sure, but I mean, I'm going to want to play nail because of this.
I think this is going to bump up blue-yellow Ace from the set.
From the starter, I guess. That is true. That's very true. But this guy, 10 cost, 10,000 power, on play. Add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. So out the gate, you're healing from him. But if you have 2 or less life cards after the heal, this guy gets rush. So essentially, if you play it right, they think they're putting you on lethal at 1 life and they pass. You drop that, you're going to 2, and you're swinging for 10.
Yeah,
and now it's just it's a whole different game.
It's a whole different ball game. You're healing and you're
swinging for 10,000. Out the rip, you're demanding 3 2Ks, 4+ cards if they don't got the 2Ks.
It's like almost impossible in limited.
Nah.
If you open this card in your limited pool, in your sealed pool,
I don't want to say you're guaranteed to win, but you're almost.
Guaranteed.
There's never any guarantees.
Because there's not a guarantee that you're going to see it. But if you see it and you're on curve,
it's gross.
It's super gross.
Because you establish some couple chump blockers, whatever the case may be, to protect yourself. Because no one likes playing that low in life. But in the sealed event, just being able to heal yourself in general. I believe this is the only card that's actually going to heal you in sealed too. I don't think there's anything else that could.
Yeah, I think all the other ones are super situational.
Exactly.
Because everything else is Vegapunk. And Vegapunk is just not a viable deck for sealed.
We didn't even bring him up in the leaders because, I mean, you need the constructed. You need to see all Vegapunk for it to work. That guy out the rip is 2 life. And if you're playing that in your pre-release, I give it to you. You got cojones of steel. That is nuts.
Or you had a nutty pool in your grass and it was all Vegapunk, and you're just able to make a 40-card deck off of it. So, but yeah, Ace, I'm super excited about Ace. I'm also excited about this next one. I'm really excited about this. CP making a comeback here with Stussy, my girl Stussy.
9 drop, 9,000 power, on play. Trash 1 of your characters, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters. Just character. Doesn't matter what it is. this is probably your only way of removing this ace. Now that I think about it,
It's
it's literally the only way.
I think this is the only way to remove any of these cards that we've talked about so far.
This is the only way at all. I mean, you just trash one of your characters. Yeah, you lose a body on the board, but it doesn't matter for the value you're getting. You get to remove anything that's given you a problem, and now you have a 9K coming next turn.
Yeah, it definitely. I don't think it definitely doesn't matter, right? In limited, there's not a whole lot of removal.
No.
And
any removal you can get your hands on, you just want to
slot it in. But this is a 9K body that just KOs one of your opponent's characters, and more than likely, unless you're going sideways a lot with your smaller body things that are doing other things for you, whether it be drawing you cards or something like that. You're usually not swinging with those, especially if you know if you have a Stussy in your deck.
Exactly.
You're just saving that body to trash to it so you can KO their big threat and pull out the win, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's super, super, super spicy for this. All right, the next guy, speaking of drawing cards, so this one's not like super overpowered.
It's not a crazy chase card. Right? The rest of the bombs we mentioned, they're all chase cards. Yeah. Everyone's going to be looking for them after the pre-release because they want them in their construction decks. I mean, this guy, Dracula Mihawk, 8-drop 10K. On play, you just straight up draw a card.
It just replaces himself.
It just replaces itself. You lose nothing for playing it. I mean, depending on the board state, yeah, I guess if you're low in life and they're going to get you on the clap back, you don't want to obviously do this if you have nothing to defend yourself. But if you play this on curve, replace itself, you're looking good with a 10K body.
Yeah, regardless. It's also a common card. So everything else we've mentioned is either a rare. I think they're all SRs.
True.
Or secrets,
SRs are secrets. So you could potentially get multiple copies of this guy, and if you're playing it safe and you got blockers protecting you and you go Mihawk and the Mihawk and now you have two 10Ks looking at you 2 turns later.
And you replace the card in hand. So
exactly.
You didn't even lose a card.
No, you potentially drew something that gave you a 2K, a 1K blocker, whatever the case may be. But yeah, you're just saving yourself after developing a big body that without the limited removal like this format is for pre-release, you're going to be looking good with him on the board regardless.
Yeah, I think you'd be looking pretty doggone good with having that Mihawk out there. So
for sure.
You'll probably see that one a lot more often than any of the other ones that we've just mentioned.
100%, so because they're common cards. So, I mean, you're going to see them.
Yeah, you're going to see them. All right, next, we were talking about a little bit about removal. A lot of this stuff that we're going to be talking about isn't like direct removal per se, not like the Sabo. Sabo was direct removal.
Exactly.
Or the Stussy, right?
Exactly.
So both of those were both removal pieces all together. But a lot of this stuff is just kind of...
It's kind of removal filler. If you don't find the chase cards, you just need some options because you don't want to put in random jumbo whatever into your 40-card deck. You get lucky enough to pull any of these are good options. They're still good options.
All right, so let's get into these, starting with a reprint. Onami Schwan.
Beautiful SP, dude. I mean, I know a lot of people were complaining when Onami came out before. People wanted it banned. The card was cracked, but it's not going anywhere. They have an SP of it. There's no way Bandai is going to ban this card.
I don't like this card.
I
hate seeing it in Yamato.
I love this.
That's why I think that's the only reason why I don't like it is because of Yamato, and then they just banish 2 cards out of your life.
2 cost, 3K power, 1K counter, so it's not a dead card, but on play you give one of your characters, up to one of your characters gains banish this turn. Leader or character, yes, exactly. I mean, everyone knows with the Yamato play, 5 Dawn, you smack it on the field, give your leader banish, and now it's a double attack banish. I mean, it's just like playing Yamato Constructed. If you see this in the pre-release,
you just might as well play your Yamato leader at that point, right?
It's gross. It's super gross, man. And it's a trigger. If you hit it off life, you just KO a 5 cost out the gate for free.
Yeah, so that part is definitely removal, right? If you're hitting it off of your life, it's just KOing something.
Exactly.
And like we said earlier, you're going to see a lot of 5 or less in sealed. So
for sure,
it's definitely going to...
It's going to find a target. If you get lucky enough to hit this out of life, you're going to see something on the board to get rid of.
So this is either just making your opponents not have 2 cards in hand with the banish. Or you're KOing one of their characters if you're seeing it out of your life. So
double value.
Double value there.
Doesn't matter.
All right. Some things that you might actually see more of a chance to see anyways.
This is Ein, 7 drop, 6k power. On play, set up one of your opponent's characters to 0 this turn. Set the power, sorry, not the cost, the power of up to one of your opponent's characters to 0 this turn. This is your answer to a big body that already smacked you in the face.
Exactly.
Once they see it sideways, you drop the Ein, make it 0. You swing at it with a chump blocker. Doesn't matter. They're 0. They don't stand a chance. It's a rare, so I mean, you're going to see it for sure, but big body. It has no counter, but you play it, you see a problem card sideways, it's 0. It's basically free to get rid of.
Yeah, I don't think you have a problem with playing this, right? Like that big cost is going to swing, right? They're going to try to close out the game. If you can survive it, you're just dropping this, setting at 0, and swinging into it, and there's no way they're countering out of that.
Exactly. And you also have a 6k swing coming next turn. I mean, it's a lot of Dawn to invest, but if you play it right, it could save your butt for sure.
I think setting it, the on play effect offsets the cost of it being 7. Most 6Ks we see at 5, maybe 6 with a good on play. I understand committing the extra 2 Dawn because it's setting anything to 0. There's no limit to that. It's not saying a cost 5 or less. It's not saying a cost 8 or less. It's not saying something with 7k power or less. It's any card goes to 0. Any character card goes to 0.
Any problem you're facing, Ein's going to save you once it's sideways.
Yeah. That's gross. And that's on play effect. So it just allows you can just literally take your leader, commit no Dawn to it, and just swing in for 5. Your opponent doesn't have 5k worth of counters to try to save that. No, it's got to be 6k worth of counters.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because you can't just match it. You have to beat it. So, I mean, whatever they're swinging at it, they got to either beat that or just face
let it go.
Let the card go.
All right. So next, this is going to be some more minus power, but we've got Outlook 3 here.
2 drop, 0 power, but it's a 1k counter, not totally dead. Activate main. You may trash this character. Give up to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power this turn. Basically, it's just if they've already been clapping at you with their board, their stuff is sideways, you're dropping that, and now they're just easy to swing into.
Yeah, so you're just making it, again, making your resources more efficient, right?
So because it's low Dawn commitment. It's only 2 Dawn to play the guy. You play it, trash it, 2 characters sideways, now they lose 2,000 power.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge and limited. You're going to see a lot of 5Ks, a lot of 4Ks having to hit up. 4,000 power, 5,000 power. Shoot, even a 6,000 power, dropping it down to 4,000 power.
You're demanding now 2 cards for sure for every swing into that body. And if you got some restand leaders, I mean, you're clearing the board. You drop that, you're clearing the board, you're looking good. You're feeling safe with this guy. And it's a 1k counter. In this format, you want as much counter cards as you could get. If you can't pull all the 2Ks, I mean, if you don't find a spot to play this guy, you just pitch it, save yourself a 1K. It's fine.
But it's definitely a removal piece, and I think it's a pretty good removal piece for sealed for sure.
100%.
All right. So next we got a couple other cards coming up here. We're still in red here, so you're going to see a lot of similar type effects here.
But Karina, beautiful alt art right there. It is a 3 cost, 0 power blocker, 1k counter. On play, give up to your opponent's character minus 2,000 power this turn. So after getting a blocker, you get to minus 2,000 again to something else on the field that's giving you a problem. It's sideways. You want to get rid of it. And you establish a blocker at the same time. So there's some extra value there for it because there's not that much removal, obviously. So this is more likely than not to stick. And you're going to save yourself a swing when they hit you back. And you're going to get rid of a body the turn you play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a bad option.
100% agree. And having a blocker that does this, and it's a 3-drop blocker.
Low Dawn commitment.
Low Dawn commitment again, which is really nice. Red really specializes in that low Dawn commitment.
Exactly.
It's really super, super efficient, actually, when you look at it.
They're moving Dawn. They're moving rested Dawn. A lot of their cards aren't super expensive. And again, it's not dead. It's a 1k counter. If for whatever reason you're not finding this place to play it, just pitch it and save yourself.
So I just thought about something that I completely forgot when we were talking about leaders. And it just reminded me from looking in between Karina and the next card we were talking about.
Zoro. I see that in the
Zoro.
background.
The red Zoro.
Red Zoro is actually, we did forget about that.
We completely forgot about Zoro.
Dude, that guy is a strong leader. I mean, one don on him, everyone on the board plus 1,000.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this at this point, so I feel like you should know Zoro is also a good
You
leader
should know.
option.
But if you're we're seeing a lot of new players into One Piece.
Very true.
Coming over from other TCGs. So if you
Very
guys are playing
true.
out there, playing in pre-releases out there at your local gaming store, make sure that you find one of those leaders. Zoro from OP-01.
Yes. 01. OG red guy for the early game of One Piece. He was dominating the format on top of Whitebeard.
Ever. Yes. Into OP-05.
Exactly.
That was nuts.
No, I mean, he's no slouch. He's a good leader. he's all aggro. It's all gas. I mean, everyone knows how Red plays. That plays One Piece. They're all about aggression, just hitting you in the face as many times as possible.
All right, so next we got up is an event, right? I know you guys want to see all the nice, pretty characters out there, but events are also very important a lot of times in this game. A lot of them have triggers. There's a lot of triggers in them and things like this. And so this is next one for Dragon Breath.
2-cost event. It's a main KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power less and up to one of your opponent's stages with a cost 1 or less. You're most likely not going to see the stage part of this, but being able to KO at 3-cost power is still super strong. That's guaranteed removal of a chump blocker. Anything that you minused with any of the other removals that you played. So it's like you could combo out with this. It's not a bad option. And since in this format you're playing whatever leader you want, I mean, you're just looking good.
Yeah, you're looking real
fine.
Good.
You got a lot of options. It's not a bad card at all.
Yeah,
it still has a trigger. Activate the card's main effect. So it's not a bad
even
option.
on that, you could potentially, because you're in sealed, you could potentially get smacked by someone's leader, trigger this off of life. Take out a potential attacker that they were going to throw 2 Dawn on.
Exactly.
And take them out.
Yeah. No, for sure. Exactly. 100% agree. I mean, there's triggers. Everyone is not going to be, not everyone's going to be expecting this card. So, I mean, it's a good option for sure.
I think this one's a sneaky one. I think a lot of people overlook events and pre-releases.
Exactly.
They're
because
like,
normally
I just want to play bodies.
Bodies, the 2Ks, the 1K, the counter cards, the blockers. That's what everyone wants, the big bodies. But some of these events are really good.
They are.
Really good.
Next, we've got
manga
Boa Hancock in the manga
art. I get if you're not going to want to play a manga, because if you don't want to shuffle that card up, keep it pretty. But it's a good card. It's going to save you. If you get the regular art of this, slot it in the deck. It's a 6-cost, 8K power on play. Up to one of your opponent's characters, other than Monkey D. Luffy, cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then place up to 1 character with a cost of 1 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Double value there, denying a swing, bottom decking a chump blocker, anything that's just on the board. Board clear is what you want to get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is not a bad option.
Can we talk about this being a 6-drop that's an 8K?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I know we have this one as removal, but this is a bomb, essentially.
Exactly. 8K out the gate, you're demanding 2 2Ks. If you connect on leader with this. So, I mean, it's not a bad card at all. Pretty looking card, and it's super strong. Super strong.
This actually has 3 different printings. If you guys know by now, if you open One Piece, usually the manga, whatever the manga art is, has a regular print, alt art, and the manga or manga print. And unlike what they did with Sabo and OP-04, the artwork is actually different from what the manga is.
Yes. No, 100%. Different artwork, pretty both ways. It's a good card to play.
Yeah. Blue does these crazy things with bottom decking or whatever, putting things on the bottom of the deck. But this is almost a green ability. Can't attack on a turn. Like, that's
normally
Dofi,
what green does. Exactly.
Like, right, 10-cost Dofi does that. We're going to see that a lot in this set, too.
I mean, Bonnie Leader. Bonnie Leader just says your -1 swing every time.
So, but it's in blue, so that's really interesting to see that. All right, so we're coming to the end of our removal here. One of these I'm really excited to see for an existing deck that I play, Bumblebee Luffy. This card's going to be gross in that deck.
Monkey D. Luffy, another 5-drop for you to slot into Bumblebee, as if Bumblebee wasn't crazy enough
I
already.
mean, we got to deal with this new Enel meta.
Ah, that's fair. That's fair, I guess. But this Luffy, 5-drop, 6k power, activate main. You may trash this character, and if you have 2 or less life cards, which Bumblebee always is, you get the KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost 4 or less, then draw 1 card. Replaces itself, removes a 4 or less, has a trigger where you just get the KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost 4 or less. So there's no downside to it whatsoever.
And it's a 1K counter.
1k counter. No, you're losing nothing for this
You're
guy
not losing
at
anything
all.
for this guy whatsoever.
No.
Great removal. It's a 6,000 power for 5.
Yep.
Has the trigger. It's in yellow. Not that that matters for pre-release, but you definitely want to see this card.
Exactly. I mean, if you don't want to trash it, you get the swing with it. Next turn, if they have nothing on the board, then you could trash it, pop something, and draw 1 card. Because with the limited removal here, this is a threat for just being on the board.
Yeah.
You see it, you keep swinging with it. The second they drop a 4-cost body, they're going to know. They're going to trash that guy, replace itself, get rid of my 4-drop.
Yeah.
And it's just a threat. It's a threat to see on the board. It's a good option to put in the deck. If you got multiple of it, slot them all in.
Slot them in. Yeah. All right, and then we got one more. I think this one's more of a common or uncommon.
Yep, common card, Fuza, 4-drop, 6k power, no counter on it, so technically it may feel dead, but Dawn times 1 when this guy is attacking. If you have 1 or less life cards, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost 3 or less. So it's super situational, because you got to be low life, but still, a 4-drop, 6k is not a bad option. There's a lot of vanillas out there. You might as well get one that has an effect.
Yeah, having a vanilla that actually has an effect, and that's a common, that just helps with removal. 3 to 5 is that sweet spot in limited and pre-release. So you'll be able to pop a lot of things here.
Exactly. With the limited removal, this guy sticks. If you're at 1 life the whole time and you got a buttload of blocker, this guy's constantly removing things every turn.
And at some point during the game, you're going to be at 1 life. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, unless you're just completely blowing out your opponent.
Yep.
Which is a little tough to do unless you just have a ridiculous card pool.
Yep.
Seeing this card is probably going to help quite a bit.
100%. Because most people are going to slot in vanillas anyways. Might as well get you one that's going to do you something on top of it.
Yeah. So we put that in the removal. If you guys see that card out there in your pool, and you're low on removal pieces, you definitely want to slot this in. It's going to help you out.
Because I mean, if you're just low on options, why not? Just throw it in there. It's going to help you out.
All right, so we got our next, and I think this is actually our last category for pre-release.
Yep.
That we have actual cards to view are blockers. So we're gonna be going over these blockers. There's not a lot on here, so just blockers. You want to get as many as you can, really, right? When you're building and constructed. Blockers can be far and few between when playing in limited. When you're playing,
it is
limited.
RNG. Depends on what you pull, but blockers and 2Ks are the top 2 things you want in that 40 card deck.
That's really going to save you and really help you be very successful with your pre-release over this weekend. So here we go. We're going to get into our 2 blockers for this.
Now, we did mention there's more than 2 blockers, but these are the 2 that are your chase blockers. After the pre-release, these guys are mandatory for constructed. People are going to want them. They're going to trade for them. They're going to buy them, sell them, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But of course, we got Basil Hawkins, 6-drop, 7k power. This guy is nuts. If your leader is Supernova type, which Eustace Kid, most popular starter deck leader for pre-release is, he gains blocker. So you have to be a Supernova leader to get this guy to be a blocker. But if you are and you pull it, once per turn, if they were to remove this guy from your field by effect, you can just rest one of their characters instead. Disgusting.
Yeah, that is disgusting. Just if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect. So the Stussy.
Exactly. Any type of removal, you say no to it and you rest one of their guys.
Your opponent's characters instead. Not even it.
No. He's still up to block after the effect.
And he's a 7k blocker, too.
Yes. You're forcing them to swing into him no matter what.
Yeah, this is gross. You know, you look at that Stussy, you look at that Sabo. You look at the Boa Hancock we just talked about that bounces. You can't even bounce this.
No, not at all. Anytime it were to be removed from the field, so that includes bottom decking, includes KOing, forces you to swing into it. Even if you were like that Brook card where it says just put it in the trash, you can't take this guy off the board. You have to swing into him. If
Yeah.
your leader supernovas, he gets the blocker. But besides that, even if you're not a supernova leader, he doesn't gain blocker, sure, but he's a 7K swing that they have to swing into it.
Yeah, I would, if it were me, I'd be bringing Eustace Kid, right? I'd make sure I have Eustace Kid with me. Obviously, you have the other ones, but if you open this card, it's like you just have to play a supernova leader at that point, right?
Keep it on the line.
There's no reason not to. Their removal is going to be super bad against this card, and it just does something they don't want to do, because not only does the removal not work that first time it happens, which means they have to have 2 pieces of removal.
Yep.
You're also going to rest one of their characters, and they won't be able to attack with that character, and still have to get around a 7K blocker.
Yep. And now whatever you rested is free game for you to KO the next turn.
Yeah, that's just gross. It's also acting almost as a piece of removal if you really think about it.
Exactly, because in this format too, you need to invest so much to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
Because like that Sabo, it's only a 5 and a 3.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything to remove or lower the cost in this format.
There are some things with CP, but I don't think you're really playing that.
Exactly, because you're not going to be thinking about this mainly. You're going to be trying to get the 2Ks, the blockers. You're not really going to try and combo like crazy as much.
Yeah, that's true. So then you're just down to the Stussy and Boa.
Yeah, that's about it. So,
That's gross.
basically, if you're running Eustace, you pull this guy, he's basically staying on the board.
And then it's an obvious slot in if you open that Bonnie.
Yes, 100%.
Just 100%. You're
100%
going with this card.
it's going in.
All right, the next one, there's been a lot of talk about this card.
Sanji. Oh my god. Sanji, the 6 cost, 6K power, 2K counter. 2K counter on
2K.
top of being a blocker. This guy is nuts. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is at least 2 less than the number of your opponent's field, give this card in your hand -3 costs. So there's not a lot of that happening, but for 6 costs, this guy is a blocker with 6K power.
I think this is definitely one you definitely want to see with Crocodile. If you're playing Crocodile leader, because you're looking to -4 and bounce something, right?
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
And so you're going to be at 2 less. You're going to be at 2 less at least from
and at the end of the day, it's a 2K counter.
It is. It's
a 2K counter.
If anything
else, nothing for slotting this guy in.
And
absolutely
it's still
nothing.
a good blocker, even though it's at 6. It's a 6,000 power blocker. So it's not like you lose out anything on that. The only thing that you can possibly gain is if you do any minus effects with your Dawn, you're going to be behind your opponent in Dawn, and you're going to be able to play this earlier than what you should.
Now, gross card, super good. The 2Ks they're putting out nowadays are super utility based. They're not just a 2K you're pitching all the time.
Yeah.
You get options with them now.
Yeah, they've been doing a really good job with 2Ks lately. I'm really, really surprised with them. You just had like the T-Bones and
exactly.
EV. Those T-Bones are gross.
And it's just a rare.
It's just a rare.
It's just a rare that 5 cost, 5,000 power. It's going to swing at you, pops a 2 or less. But worst come to worst, you're pitching it to save your butt for 2K.
Obviously, that's not going to be in this pre-release, but not a bad option as well. Now, we do still have some other things. When you're constructing your pre-release on pre-release day, your sealed deck, we still have to talk about some other things, like number of 2Ks that you should have that you're looking for to try to get. And then kind of what else should you be really slotting in with that deck?
I mean, if you don't get lucky enough to find any of these chase cards, 2Ks and blockers are what you want. It's the name of the game for this format. As many of that as you can is where you want to be. But besides that, you want those vanillas, the big bodies, the 5/7s, the 4/6s, the 3/5s, whatever you could find, just to fill yourself in, to keep you safe. You don't want as many dead cards. So anything with a 1K counter, anything that's 5,000 power or more, that's just going to connect when you swing with it is what you want. It's what you want.
Yeah, I think what we were saying, like 8 to 10 2Ks.
8 to 10 2Ks is ideal, but I mean, if you pull the nuts and you get 15 2Ks out of there, something crazy like that, why not?
That would be gross.
Why not?
15 2Ks?
Just slot them all in, man.
Oh
Save yourself, because in this format, the leader is your main attacker is the
That's
main
true.
thing. So if you could get a deck, realistically, it may not happen, but 20 blockers, 22 Ks, you have a Yamato. What are they gonna
Oh my
do? What are
gosh.
they gonna do? I mean,
You just built a wall
you just
and then
build
just
a
have
wall,
two
you keep
Ks in hand?
smacking. I mean, Eustace is just a restand, 10 Don, you smack him for 12 twice, you got blockers, you got 2Ks. All you're trying to do is stall them out and keep hitting them as much as you can.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's gross.
It's
That's
nasty.
gross. I didn't even think about that.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
because the last pre-release we had was before EBO1, so it's been a while since we've had any one
Yeah,
of these.
OP-06, yep.
Exactly. And I mean, there's just a lot of broken leaders out there now. So, I mean, they're going to be good options for you. And if you can't find anything in your deck, anything with counter and a blocker is what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you want.
That is gross. I know there's some other leaders out there that we didn't mention that are like single color.
Hmm.
Um I don't know if any of them are that great for being in sealed. I mean, you do have like purple Luffy that ramps on Dawn.
It does. But I mean, the fact that you have to take a life to ramp on it is
That's true.
situational. So, I mean, it's iffy. I mean, the Lucci that comes out in this set, he's a really good leader, but for constructed.
Yeah.
There's no point in, I mean, I guess
This
if
whole
you rip
set is
it,
monocolored.
yeah, they're
These
all
are all
monocolor
monocolor
leaders, so
leaders.
they're
Yeah.
all healthy. But
Except
Lucci,
for Vegapunk.
Vegapunk is, I don't know. In constructed, it cooks. In constructed, I've seen some things. I've seen some people they swear by it, but in the pre-release format, you don't want that.
Well, you know I like playing with my life, so I might be seeing that in constructed later on. I may play with it, especially for our like Tuesdays or something like
Exactly,
that.
it's a fun leader, dude. It's a fun leader for sure.
All right, so and then outside of that, any 1K counters that you can find too, right?
1K, just
That's the rest
avoid
of
the
the
dead
filler,
cards.
right?
Avoid the dead cards unless they like that. Was it Kazu? I forgot that yellow 4-drop that dawn times when it's doing something when he swings on you. But minus that, I mean, the dead cards you want to avoid obviously, unless they're big vanilla bodies.
The Vegapunk, like robot that the removal,
Yeah, the removal
the
piece we were
removal,
talking about. Because I mean, again, that card's dead, but it's doing you something.
yeah,
Fuza. There
Fuza,
you go. Exactly. He's doing something for you, so it's not a bad option to slot in. But if you can't find any of this stuff, I mean, you just want the big bodies, the blockers, and the counter.
yeah,
As much of that as you could find, just stuff that's going to be annoying to get rid of and stuff that's going to hit hard.
yeah. I agree. I agree. All right, enough of pre-release. Next is OP-07 meta. I'm kind of stoked about this. It is for the US anyways.
Yep.
Official meta will begin on the 28th. That's
Yep.
the official date where bans go into place for
Yep.
Great Eruption, for rejects, for Sakazuki.
Oh my goodness.
So we're gonna see a new landscape. Obviously, Japan is already seeing a lot of this
Yep.
stuff. They're ahead of us still. Hopefully, there's rumored that we catch up with OP-09. I
Yep.
think.
09,
right?
we're supposed to be on the same release date, same ban list, so that'll be really healthy for the meta
It will be.
especially for the price of these cards. I mean, the second there's news of 08 in Japan, stuff over here starts spiking. That's all
Yeah.
the support. So it's a rough spot to be in, obviously, but I mean, in 07, it's gonna feel like a really healthy meta. There's just a lot of
I
more
do
decks are
think
coming
so.
back online because the big bad boy villain Sakazuki kicks the dirt.
He does kick the dirt, and I've got that spice. I can't wait
Dude.
for all y'all that come to First Capital Gaming.
Oh my god.
This spice I've been brewing since OP-04.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. You guys don't know what we're talking about, but before we started filming, me and Mac were playing some games for fun, and let me tell you, that deck he has cooks. It cooks hard. It's spicy. It's gonna be really fun. But that's the point, is because Sakazuki, yes, he was a popular leader, but the black-blue combination where he had both forms of removal, the cost reduction, the KO, and the bottoming. He just had all the options, so it made a lot of other decks offline. A lot of leaders were not that playable if you wanted to be competitive, at least.
You only have like what 3 or 4 decks you could really play.
Exactly.
Like if you weren't playing Sokka, you could play.
I mean, Gecko was strong, obviously.
Right?
Anel was strong, obviously.
And then like Yellow Black Luffy.
That was it.
And like that was it. Right?
That was your top 4 since 05. Since 05, man.
I mean, you did have Purple Luffy in the mix
Purple
in 05, but
yeah.
when 07 or from '05, but when '06 came out, Sokka just like
No, yeah, yep, yep. Because Sokka came out '05. By '06, they had the list down. Everyone saw what Japan was cooking.
and they added the Morias from '06.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. I mean, if you look at Worlds that happened at One Piece, that tournament was literally 80% Sakazuki. So I mean,
Yeah.
I watched that, and it was just mirror after mirror
Guys,
after mirror.
stop doing this. Like, if you didn't learn from Whitebeard, like they banned it for White, like that's why
Yeah.
they banned Whitebeard.
I mean,
And it's
they
going to
brought
be
him
banned for
back.
a little while, and
Yep.
Sokka will probably come back, but he's not going to
Exactly.
be as good.
No, I mean they already reprinted it.
Yeah.
They made a new Sokka. You have to pitch a Navy card now. So I mean, people are just ditching it. They're going now mainly to Red Purple Law. That is
Yeah.
now your big bad villain, even into 08. In Japan, it's going nuts.
This deck is nuts.
It's crazy.
I'm kind of
It's
cooking on
crazy.
something with this one as well. That's kind of a little outside of what the regular meta list is, which we really like.
And that's where you want to be at too, because that's the thing. If you know what's going to be the most popular leader and you're going to run into the mirrors, if everyone's running cookie cutter same deck, you're just waiting for them to do what you're going to do to them.
Right.
And you're just going to know what to expect. If you come in with the sauce, you come in with some stuff you cooked up yourself, you're going to sneak people and you're going to catch them off guard.
You're going to catch them off guard.
For sure. And especially in that mirror, I haven't played that deck personally. It's a super expensive deck. Super crazy. It's fun. I played against it enough. I have my own sauce to play into Red Purple Law. So I think I'm okay with that.
I have Red Purple Law. When the structure decks came out, there were 2 leaders I wanted to play out of this.
Yep.
I ended up primarily playing Red Purple Luffy. Which is actually still very competitive. And
now that Sakazuki is gone, he bumps up, and that's what happens to this tier list. A lot of leaders come up, they start being playable again. I mean, right now, obviously, top tier, you're looking at Red Purple Law, you're looking at Black Yellow Luffy, you're looking at Slim Shady, Anel himself. Like these guys, they've been strong with Sakazuki around. They're only going to get stronger when he's gone.
Yeah, they're kind of at the top of the meta right now, right? They're like your S tier. Type of leaders that are going into after June 28th, right?
Yep.
But after that, you do have an A tier, which is still going to be super competitive.
Yep. Still competitive. You have Katakuri in there. He's always going to be competitive. Getting hit with a 10 mom, 10 mom, 10 mom usually gets you game.
10 mom, 10 mom, 10 mom.
It's tried and true, man.
It is.
Katakuri was the first deck I ever played in One Piece, and because it's the casino. You're just gambling. I may have the counter in hand. I'm gonna let you hit life because I'm gonna see what is there, and it might be nuts, and that's gonna just win me the game. But besides that, you have Rob Lucci coming out. He is basically the new Sakazuki, the new Gecko Moria, because he's KOing a lot faster. The CP package is nuts. It's consistent deck, consistent leader, because you're trashing 2 off the top when you swing, minusing 1. So I mean,
we've checked this deck out too. This deck, by the way, I mean, I'm sure some people are going to look to try to do Morias in here for whatever reason.
Exactly.
I
think Moria is just a broken black card. It goes in any deck that has black in it, so I understand.
I understand too, but guys, take a look at a full CP list. It's gross.
It's the CP package is no joke, man. I mean, it's strong. Besides that, you have Bonnie now too. The new Bonnie is going to be super competitive.
Supernova.
You have the rock paper scissors effects with these leaders, so of course Bonnie is going to have good matchups into certain leaders. Certain leaders are going to have good matchups into that, but that's what you want. You want the healthy meta to just have a lot of different options.
We want rock paper scissors.
Exactly.
We don't want one deck just to be.
No,
that's the problem that was with Sakazuki.
Exactly. You don't want to walk in here on Friday and see half of everyone running Sakazuki. Because then it's like, okay, I'm going to pack my deck up and I'm going to just watch. Because that's going to be gross.
It's gross.
But besides that, Gecko's still strong even without Eruption. I mean, he's the zombie boy. You're pulling out from trash. You're just going wide, getting free bodies out there. Gecko Moria is nuts. But
Perona's resting people. And
yep, Perona's up there as well. With 07, I believe it's the Wano package that people are running with it, which is the spice, because that's just the new wave for it. It's going to be strong. It's a new list, new ideas. It's a fresh way to bring fresh life into a leader that's been around since 05, which is what you want to see anyways. It's just bring back some leaders, play some new decks, have some new options, and just see a variety when you walk into a locals.
Yeah, I like seeing the variety. I've always tried to be that way. I played Red Purple Luffy all through almost up until we got Bumblebee Luffy.
Exactly.
I literally played Red Purple Luffy up until
From
Black
starter
Belt.
deck 10 until starter deck, what is it, 12, where we got the three brothers?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I
So
mean,
that was from before OP-05
yep,
into after EB.
yep,
So that was a long time that I've been playing that. And at locals, I usually do pretty well with Red Purple Luffy.
yep,
It's hard for the removal decks to deal with.
exactly.
And
'Cause, I
everyone
mean, it's
gets
the big
fooled by the 3
bodies.
life.
Yep. Everyone thinks, oh, 3 life, my triggers are online. I'll just got to hit him 4 times. But I mean, when he gets cooking and he's ramping, and you're facing a Whitebeard, a Rush Luffy, a 7-drop kid, you're just, I'm not removing any of that, man. That's
Plus the extra turn from purple
oh
10-drop
my
Luffy
God. It's
just
gross.
to secure the win. Like,
it's fun.
it's gross. But he is in kind of like the 3rd tier for the competitive tiers right now.
It's still competitive, but besides that, in that competitive section, we do have Nami's.
Yeah.
The boy
Nami
Nick,
hasn't gone anywhere.
Nick
is starting to
with
steal it. He's like,
oh my God,
right on the
every
edge.
time he's consistently getting the 6 cards or less. And I mean, the last time I matched, I think the last 4 times I matched up with him, I beat him once. So he's decked out on me 3 times
this
already,
past week he didn't get me. I did play Red Purple Wall though.
Fair enough.
But the week before that he got me, and I played Black Yellow Luffy, and I was just going sideways constantly, just everything sideways, and he still got the win.
No, I mean, I looked at one of his matches and someone hit him for 15 4 times in a row, and the guy said no.
That was the same week.
That was the same week. Well, because with Nami, it's like they have a sequence how they want to counter. You have to sequence how you want to swing into it too. So it's like you got to play it smart. I already learned quick. I tried pinging them for 5s every time, pinging them for 7s every time. There's a certain way you want to hit it. I'll let you guys figure it out for yourself because I want to see him cook with Nami.
I want to see Nick cook with Nami.
I want to see him win. I want to see him win with Nami.
Mr. Nick out there, shout out to you, man.
Dude.
Yeah, I love that. Nami Schwan.
Dude. But besides that, we have Uda, super consistent green deck. I mean, 2 structure decks and like 6 other cards you got to look for. Maybe 8 because the film Nami's not in there, but it's a very consistent deck.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can take 2 structure decks and put this together. You can't do that with any other structure decks, really.
It's the only structure. I mean, technically, I believe the Zoro Sanji, I'm not 100% sure, but that is a good chunk of it is just the structure deck. So that's kind of in the same boat because both of those are competitive decks. But Uda, man, I mean, that's just a hand advantage.
Yeah, it's a huge hand advantage.
And talk about removal being gone, too. If you're not facing the blue matchup where they're going to hit you with a pudding and reshuffle your hand, you're just sitting there with 10, 12 cards, and you have all the options. In this card game,
Dofi's
hand advantage is what you
still
want.
on the list. And then we get Boa as well. I think they're both on this list.
Dofi is getting really strong already. 7 Warlords. It's like Gecko. I'm super into that deck because it's just like Gecko.
I want to play this deck. I want to play Dofi.
It's fun, man. It's fun stuff. When the new structure decks come out in October, I believe, you get 5 new cards for it as well. But even so, right now, and in 07, this guy is no slouch. He's going to be sneaking up on your locals. Super good. Every time you swing with them, you stack your deck. You're playing out a free body. Those free bodies get on plays. They get you more stuff. And next thing you know, you got a body worth of 5, and this guy's always hitting you for 7 every time. Yeah,
it's gross. They are rested bodies, so you do run into them possibly being removed. But everything is on play.
Exactly.
So.
And that's also the trap with Dofi. You're focused on getting rid of his board that he's pooping out for free every turn. He's hitting your life for 7 every time. So he's demanding cards out of your hand. He's going wide. You're getting distracted by the board, and next thing you know, he's at 4 or 5 life, and you're at 2.
But you have to like the 7 Warlords are so efficient. They're 4 drops that are like 7Ks and 8Ks. They're doing silly stuff.
So that's fair enough. But I mean, besides that, another blue Boa, that new Boa leader coming out. I believe every time you remove a character by your effect, if you're bottoming stuff, bouncing them back to your hand, or your opponent's stuff, you're plussing the card.
You're drawing a card,
You're just plussing the card, your red rocks, your gravity blades, whatever you want to do to them. You're getting a card back for that on top of bottoming some stuff. So I mean, that's just gross.
Mono blue again to 5 life.
Super safe.
Super safe. I'm very interested to see what Boa does. I may kind of try to do that 7. I don't know. The Dofi ability is just so strong.
I mean, getting free bodies out is hard to pass up on.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to go that route and you just want to hit people in the freaking face as hard as you can, Yamato is still strong. It's still competitive, and it's competitive because it's a leader that has, I personally believe, the most freedom for building your deck possible.
That's true.
You don't
'Cause
have to
do
go
get some of the
Wano.
pirates.
Exactly.
Her pirate group and
Exactly.
this set too for support.
I mean, the Wano cards coming out are going to be gross. Perona's obviously going from a Thriller Bark leader to basically a Wano leader because you're running a Wano deck. But Yamato, you got the Fortress option, the Sky Island option, the Wano option. So you have freedom of building because that leader itself is just smacking you twice every time.
True.
So it's still a good option. And then Whitebeard.
This is on the lines of like the Namis and the Dofis. They've been around for a while. It's a very competitive deck. People that play it know how to play it extremely well.
Exactly.
Which I think is why it's still in the competitive landscape today.
Because with Sakazuki gone, he was the main reason a good amount of these decks were just not that popular because people were scared of the Sokka matchup. Because he had all the options to stop your play, remove your board, whatever the case may be, fix his hand. He had everything. So all these leaders are going to start coming back. They're going to start being popular again. And that's what's exciting because, like we keep saying, if you go into a locals, you don't want to just see mirror after mirror after mirror.
Yeah.
You want to see the options. And that's what makes the game fun, is just playing different leaders, playing into different games, and just having a different experience every time you sit across the table from someone else.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this past meta for this past week at our locals, we had 3 red purple laws.
Yes.
We had 3 Gecko Morias.
Yep. We still had some Sakazukis.
1 Sokka.
George, I'm looking at you, bro. I can't wait. I can't wait till you stop playing Sakazuki.
He said he's got some spice ready, man.
I don't know, dude. I love George to death, but boy, I hate playing him because Sakazuki is just so frustrating. And
yeah,
he's good with it, man.
He's very good with it. We had 1 Sokka. We had we saw Uda. We had 1 Uda player.
Yep.
Someone played my Bumblebee Luffy.
Yep.
So that was out there as well.
I was on Gecko, of course.
You were on Gecko, so that was in those. We had how many Gecko players? 3, right? Total.
I want to say yes, 3. Me, Cindy, and Cam. And Cam, yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's. I mean, you're seeing a lot of those. I moved to Red Purple Law because I was like, oh, maybe people aren't playing it yet, and then just to find out there are 2
Red
players.
Purple Law, man. That guy. I'm just gonna be honest. Ivankov, Mono Blue, my secret pick in the Red Purple Law. It's so good.
That's why I can't wait for my spice,
dude.
When we get past the 28th and we reveal the spice that I'm playing in that list, I think it's something people are going to be surprised at.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people like compare it on the tier list you're seeing on YouTube, whatever the case may be. It's all scattered. It's everywhere. But the fact again that the main problem child is gone.
Yeah.
You just have so many options to play now, and there's just so many variables. People are going to bring out all these sleeper picks, and I keep talking about Ivankov, but I love that leader. It's so freaking fun. I played against 3 Red Purple Laws today, and I only dropped 1 game. It's fun.
That deck seems super fun. Dude. Playing against it and playing into it is pretty cool. Purple Luffy's back.
Oh, yeah. The ramp for it, I mean, in EBO1, we saw the Bond Clays.
Yeah.
That was the Chase Seeker rare, and Bond Clay is just disgusting, man.
But they also get that new blocker, Sanji, as well. If they're behind to just kind of pop in at 3 cost.
2K counter, getting you a blocker. You're losing nothing, obviously. And then Reiju is competitive, but you have to dodge Red Purple off for your life. You match up against that, on paper, you're pretty much washed. You're never going to be online for your abilities. You're never going to catch up to the Don Minus that Red Purple Lot does. Yeah, so
fair enough.
If you could avoid it, Reiju's still a good pick, honestly.
Now, I opened an alt for this next one, and I'm really, really stoked to see this in the competitive landscape now, because it just wasn't when the structure decks or the starter decks came out, but it's blue, yellow, ace. I think this deck is super spicy. If you go through and look through some of the stuff that was in the original starter deck, it actually has a lot of cards to support this leader specifically. It didn't really support the other 2.
No.
But it definitely supports this. The Whitebeard in there, the Ever Newgate, and the Shanks. both
Yes.
support getting cards off the top of your life that are face up.
Mm-hmm.
And with this leader, he puts cards from I think it's from the top of your library face up into your life.
If they're a 5 or less.
If they're-
Basically,
if
you're
they're 5 or
searching the
less,
top
yeah.
5, you hit a 5 cost, you put it in face up life, and from there, you're just trying to play out how you could either face it down or on play it. Because
Right.
at the end of your turn, your face up cards are going to
trash, right? Or they go bottom.
I want to say bottom of the deck.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's the same thing like Bumblebee Luffy, where your face up cards go to the bottom of the
Go to
deck.
the bottom of the deck. So it's a very interesting way to play around with. These guys here know I like playing around with my life. 3 life,
Mhm.
3 life,
Mhm.
playing Bumblebee.
This man's risky, dude. This man's super risky.
So this is a new one, and I'm just kind of delving into yellow because I didn't
Mhm.
play yellow prior to Black Yellow Luffy.
Well, also too, the thing is with that structure deck, it's the most fair yellow because they're
Yeah.
not triggering.
They're not triggering.
They're just
not.
yellow cards.
But you're getting support in this with that freaking Luffy. That's a 5 cost.
Yeah, you are.
From OP-07. So I can see how this is going to get a little nutty.
Yep, I believe that.
And the 10 cost ace.
That's just a gross card overall. I feel like if you're yellow and you're not running it, you're just low-key trolling. That's just such a good card, man.
Troll.
It's going to save you, give you a life, and rush. Now you got 10 in your face.
I just want to play that card in all the Vegapunk and play Vegapunk and troll locals with 2 life.
Vegapunk is strong, dude. It's funny. It's a funny card, but I mean, if you build the deck right and you play it right, it's annoying to deal with. It goes wide super fast. Every card triggers.
Yeah, every card triggers. I'm kind of excited about this one. Next one too. It's actually one of the first alt leaders that I opened. It's also the first set I opened, which was an OP-04.
Very
and it's
nice.
Vivi.
Yeah, red, blue Vivi. I mean, non-swinging leader, but with the support coming out, it just comes online. You got blue is the most annoying form of removal. You can't say no to it.
Is
red
bottom
is rush.
decking is just gross.
It's nasty. You can't say no to that stuff. We got cards out right now like Gravity Blade.
Yeah.
2/6 or less, go to the bottom. Red Rock, anything goes to the bottom. Red is all just aggression, moving down, rush. Vivi herself gives characters rush, so you could give your blue cards rush.
Yeah, that's true.
It's nasty. It's nasty.
That's
man.
true. Yeah, so those are kind of your top 3 tier decks there that you have. So an S, an A, and a B tier.
Exactly.
There's other things out there. We're not going to go through every deck. This video would
Obviously.
be extremely long if we did that. But I encourage people to go out, take a look at leaders that may not be showing up on this.
Because again, at the end of the day,
you can find some stuff.
You can find some sauce, cook it up. Because at the end of the day, every tier list is just based off our opinion and whoever you're watching.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is.
No.
June 28th, you're going to have a completely different opinion. I'm moving something up to at least an A tier competitive.
Yeah.
It's already there right now with not having Great Eruptions banned currently. And I think it would even potentially kind of give Sokka a run for its money.
100%.
Outside the fact that they can bottom deck so much, but I think it would cause a lot of pressure on Sokka. Playing big bodies against Sokka is where Sokka struggles the most. I know from playing Red Purple Luffy against it and into it.
Yep.
And this deck that I've cooked up has a lot of big bodies.
Oh, I know. We ran some games and we did some testing, and let me tell you, this man is a chef. He's just cooking it up right now.
So, definitely excited for that, guys. We're gonna wrap it up. It's been quite a long video, but super excited about all these things, guys. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought of pre-release. What you guys are looking for most in pre-release. What you're looking forward to build coming with the OP-07 meta and things like that. Any closing remarks, Marquise?
I mean, I'm just here to turn cardboard sideways, dog.
I love turning cardboard sideways, man.
It's just have some fun, play some card games, hang out with your friends, and just go outside and have a good time, man.
Yeah. Come play live, guys. If you guys are in the Central York area, make sure you guys hit us up here at First Capital Gaming, located in Kingston Square. Guys, we're here. We're playing on a lot of days. A lot of days for One Piece if you guys like One Piece. We're even doing some stuff online. So if you're not in our Discord, not following us on Facebook, not following us on Twitter, or even here on YouTube, well, you got to be following us on YouTube because you're watching this video. But don't forget to hit that like button, share, comment down below, guys. And don't forget to subscribe.
I got one last remark.
Go.
Out of Central PA, best chairs in any LGS. I'm just going to say that right now. Best freaking chairs.